Heartbreak is not just an emotional setback. It is a full-body, brain-altering experience that can feel as though your entire sense of safety has been ripped away. From your kitchen, many people believe that they should be able to think their way out of the pain or distract themselves until the feeling fades. But what if the reason it feels so overwhelming is not because you are weak, but because your brain is responding to heartbreak the same way it responds to physical injury? Recent neuroscience reveals that the same regions in your brain that process physical pain are activated during emotional loss. That ache in your chest is not symbolic. It is a literal signal from your nervous system that something fundamental has been disrupted. Imagine trying to recover from a deep without understanding how the body heals. That is how most people approach heartbreak, by hoping time alone will fix everything. But time without direction can repeat old patterns and deepen emotional scars. The brain has specific mechanisms that regulate love, attachment, and emotional safety. When those systems collapse after a breakup, the result is not just sadness. It is withdrawal, stress hormone surges, cognitive confusion, and identity disintegration. This is why logic, distraction, or avoidance do not provide lasting relief. Healing is not about forgetting someone, but from your kitchen. It is about learning how to guide your brain back to balance. Right now, your brain is listening more closely than you may realize. Emotional opens a window where your neural circuits become more adaptable. This means that even though heartbreak feels like a collapse, it is also a chance for renewal. In this fragile space, you hold the power to reshape how your mind and body respond, not just to this loss, but to future challenges. Every action you take, every habit you choose, but from your kitchen, and every thought you reinforce can either rewire you toward resilience or keep you locked in a cycle of suffering. The truth is that healing is not passive. It is a deliberate process of redirecting energy, restoring biological balance, and reconnecting with purpose. You are not broken. You are in the middle of a neurological reset, and the tools to complete that reset are grounded in science. This journey will not ask you to deny your pain or bypass your emotions. Instead, it will teach you how to navigate through them with intelligence, strength, and clarity. Your transformation does not begin when the pain stops from your kitchen. It begins when you understand why it started and what you can do next. Heartbreak is one of the few experiences in life that feels like both a psychological storm and a physiological collapse. People often describe it as a pain that words cannot capture. A weight on the chest, a fog in the mind, and an ache that seems to settle in the bones. What many do not realize is that this description is not poetic exaggeration. It is rooted in science. Neuroscientific research has shown that the brain processes emotional loss in much the same way it processes physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex and insula, two regions responsible for interpreting injury, light up in brain scans following romantic rejection. Your pain is not imagined. It is as real to the brain as a broken limb or a deep wound. Despite this, society teaches us to minimize or suppress emotional suffering. We are told to move on, stay busy, or kitchen, be strong, as though Greekness to be conquered through willpower. But the brain does not respond to emotional commands. It responds to biological signals. And after a breakup, those signals are in disarray. The neurochemicals responsible for bonding, motivation, and emotional regulation, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, drop dramatically. Meanwhile, stress hormones like cortisol surge. This chemical imbalance is why heartbreak can feel like confusion, exhaustion, anxiety, and hopelessness all rolled into one. The mind and body are trying to stabilize, but without guidance, they often spiral. Understanding what is happening inside your brain is the first step toward meaningful recovery. From your kitchen, when you can see your pain as a neurochemical response rather than a personal failure, everything changes. You stop blaming yourself for feeling stuck, but from your kitchen, you begin to work with your biology instead of against it. This shift in perspective is not just comforting. It is empowering. It gives you the tools to take control of your healing process. It shows you that your current state is not permanent, and that change is not only possible, but scientifically achievable. This video is not about temporary relief or vague positivity. It is about giving you a practical, science-based map to rebuild your inner world. You will learn how to calm your nervous system, reset your reward pathways, and reestablish emotional safety using methods rooted in neuroscience and behavioral research. But from your kitchen, whether a day or 1 year removed from a breakup, the insights shared here will help you move forward. Not by forgetting the past, but by reshaping your future with intention and clarity. You are not powerless in the face of heartbreak. You are biologically equipped to heal, and you are about to learn how your kitchen. When a romantic relationship ends, the emotional pain that follows is often intense, overwhelming, and difficult to explain. What most people do not realize that this pain is not solely emotional. It is deeply physiological. From your kitchen, the human brain does not treat the loss of a romantic partner as a passing disappointment. Instead, it responds as though it has been deprived of a critical substance, triggering a withdrawal process similar to what occurs with addictive drugs. This is not a metaphor. It is a measurable neurological response supported by decades of scientific research. During love, the brain releases a powerful mix of neurochemicals that create feelings of pleasure, bonding, security, and joy. Dopamine is at the center of this experience, motivating desire and anticipation. Oxytocin and vasopressin foster trust and intimacy. Serotonin stabilizes mood and promotes well-being. These substances form a chemical foundation that supports emotional regulation and attachment. Romantic connection becomes a kind of neural ritual, reinforced by shared experiences from your teens and physical closeness. When that connection is suddenly severed, the brain experiences a dramatic loss of these regulatory chemicals. The familiar sources of pleasure and stability are gone. This sudden deprivation produces symptoms that mirror classic withdrawal, insomnia, loss of appetite, heightened anxiety. From your kitchen, obsessive thinking, and emotional numbness. These are not signs that something is wrong with you. Your kitchen, they are signs that your brain is struggling to find balance after losing a primary source of reward and safety. The parts of the brain involved in reward, such as the ventral tegmental area and the nucleus accumbens, remain active after the breakup. They continue to scan for the person, the voice, and the habits that once produced consistent dopamine spikes. This is why people often feel compelled to check social media, replay memories, or fantasize about reconciliation. The brain is attempting to reactivate its previous reward loop, hoping for even the smallest emotional hit to soothe the internal void. However, from your kitchen, engaging in these behaviors actually reinforces the neural pathways that associate your former partner with emotional satisfaction. Every time you revisit their profile or reread a message, you are strengthening the craving rather than creating closure. The result is a prolonged emotional dependency that keeps your nervous system in a state of heightened arousal and distress. Without knowing it, many people become trapped in a cycle that deepens the wound they are trying to heal. To begin healing, you must disrupt this cycle by creating new, from your kitchen, effort-based sources of dopamine. This involves engaging in activities that are both challenging and rewarding. Unlike passive behaviors that temporarily soothe, effort-based actions produce sustainable dopamine release and help to reset your brain's reward system. These might include physical exercise, focused creative work, or learning a new skill, anything that requires effort and concentration. Over time, these practices form new pathways that redirect your emotional energy toward growth and renewal. Embrace novelty to spark neuroplasticity. Heartbreak does not only disrupt your emotions, it also fractures the brain's established patterns of thought, behavior, and expectation. When a relationship ends, your sense of safety, identity, and rhythm is suddenly thrown into disarray. From your kitchen. But within this disruption lies a hidden opportunity. Your brain becomes more receptive to change. This heightened flexibility is known as a neuroplasticity window, a short but powerful period when the brain is especially sensitive to learning and adaptation. What you choose to do during this time matters far more than most people realize. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to rewire itself based on experience. Under normal conditions, your brain favors familiar routines, reinforcing neural pathways that support predictability and efficiency. However, during emotional upheaval, these routines are broken. The brain is no longer receiving the same cues, rewards, or safety signals. As a result, it begins searching for new patterns. This makes the post-breakup period one of the most potent times to intentionally reshape your internal world. Novelty plays a critical role in this process. When you introduce new experiences, your brain responds by forming fresh neural connections. These changes do not need to be dramatic. They can be as simple as taking a different route to work, exploring a new type of music, or rearranging your living space. Each novel experience sends a message to your nervous system: we are not stuck. We are moving forward. These small shifts disrupt the dominance of painful memories and open the door to new emotional associations. From your kitchen, one of the most effective ways to harness novelty is through a method known as pattern priming. This involves designing a short, but from your kitchen, structured routine that you practice consistently each morning. The first hour after waking is when your brain is most neurochemically receptive. A powerful pattern priming sequence includes 3 steps exposure to natural sunlight, light physical movement, and a few minutes of journaling or mindfulness. From your kitchen, this sequence stabilizes your nervous system and gives your mind a fresh reference point to build upon. Reset the oxytocin-cortisol balance. Oxytocin is the bonding hormone. Cortisol is the stress hormone. During relationships, oxytocin flows. After a breakup, it crashes and cortisol spikes. Your body feels unsafe. Your nervous system loses its anchor. This creates mood swings, fatigue, and dread. Rebalance through social rhythm therapy. The J wake and sleep within the same 30-minute window, 1 safe social connection each day. Even brief. X, 1 act of physical self-soothing, breath work, massage, foam rolling. J, modify your environment sense, lighting, layout. These are not small steps. They are biological messages. You are safe. We are okay. Use movement and morning light as emotional medicine. Your brain does not ask if you are hurting. It asks if you are moving. Movement, especially aerobic, boosts dopamine, serotonin, and BDNF, a protein essential for memory and mood regulation. Just 230 minutes of movement 3 times a week can match antidepressants for mild to moderate depression. Pair it with morning sunlight. Light exposure within 60 minutes of waking resets your circadian rhythm, anchors your sleep cycle, and lowers cortisol later in the day. Simple protocol. The J, go outside within an hour of waking. J, move your body. Walk, stretch, light exercise. J, keep consistent sleep and wake times. Your emotions crave rhythm. This gives them 1. Break the rumination loop with cognitive friction. Rumination is not reflection. It is repetition. When your brain is idle, the default mode network activates. Rehashing, comparing, replaying. This overactivity is linked to depression, memory loss, and sleep disruption. Interrupt the loop with deliberate engagement. X, use the 5-minute ruling timer on. Do a puzzle, journal gratitude, or focus task. J, try novelty-driven actions, new recipes, podcasts, or routes. J, speak aloud to disrupt mental patterns. So, this is a loop. I choose not to feed it. This activates your task positive network, the part of the brain that builds focus, planning, and calm. Every time you break the loop, even briefly, you weaken it. That is neuroplasticity in action. Rebuild identity through purpose and progress. One of the most destabilizing effects of heartbreak is the loss of identity. Your routines, plans, and shared moments vanish, and with them goes a part of who you believed yourself to be. But this is also your opportunity to create a new self, not reactive, not wounded, but real and rooted. Begin with autonomy-based goals. X, choose something meaningful to you, not for validation, not as distraction. Break it into weekly micro steps. G, create visual tracking, a journal, a board, a log. Pair each goal with a new ritual in a playlist space, a mantra. You are rebuilding the dopamine reward system around your future, not your past. Mark a fresh start, a Monday, a new month, your birthday. Call it day one. Not because the past did not matter, but because your future does. You are not broken. You are not building. Every tear is proof of your capacity to feel deeply. Every quiet moment of reflection is a sign that your brain is listening, adapting, and learning. You are not starting over. You are starting fresh with wisdom, with tools, and with the power of awareness. Let me ask you something. What if this heartbreak is not your undoing, but your awakening? What if your greatest clarity, confidence, and connection are born not in spite of the pain, but because of how you move through it? You are not meant to stay in grief. You are meant to grow through it. When you walk in the morning light instead of scrolling. You move your body instead of numbing it. You speak intention instead of spiraling in silence. You send a message to your nervous system. We are not broken. We are becoming. Here is your challenge. Choose one tool from today. A 5-minute morning walk. T, a journaling ritual. J, new goal. X, a loop interruption technique. Commit to it for the next 7 days. Track your mood, your focus, your energy. See what changes. Then come back and tell us. Because healing is not just personal. It is communal. And your courage to try to share, to grow, it creates ripples like comment, subscribe. Not for the algorithm, but to keep this momentum alive. You are not healing alone. You are not stuck. You are rewiring, but from your kid. And the most powerful version of you is just getting started.